Ghost ships and legends of the deep. The ocean has always been a place of contradiction. To some, it is freedom, vast and untamed, a path to discovery. To others, it is terror, a graveyard without end, swallowing ships and men whole. Sailors who braved its surface often returned with stories of shadows and curses. And some never returned at all, their vessels drifting back empty, crew vanished with silence heavier than any storm. These tales form the heart of maritime mystery, the haunted ships and cursed waters that defy explanation. The Mary Celeste, ghost ship with no crew. On December 5, 1872, the British brigantine Dei Gratia spotted another ship adrift in the Atlantic, near the Azores. It was the Mary Celeste. She was intact, seaworthy, and loaded with cargo. Her sails flapped loosely in the wind, and her wheel spun aimlessly. But something was wrong. When the crew of the Dei Gratia boarded her, they found no one. Not a single sailor remained aboard. The ship's lifeboat was missing, but all provisions were intact. The cargo of industrial alcohol was untouched. The crew's belongings, even their pipes and clothes, lay in their cabins. Half-eaten meals sat abandoned on tables. What happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste? Theories range from piracy to mutiny to storms and waterspouts. Some claim an explosion of alcohol fumes panicked the crew into abandoning ship. Others whisper of sea monsters, paranormal abductions, or even alien encounters. But the truth has never been discovered. The Mary Celeste drifted on, perfectly functional, but utterly alone. To this day, it remains the most famous ghost ship mystery in history. The Flying Dutchman, eternal phantom of the sea. Cape of Good Hope, in the midst of a violent storm. As the sea roared and lightning split the sky, Vanderdecken cursed God and swore he would sail until the end of time rather than turn back. The legend says his blasphemy was answered. The Flying Dutchman was condemned to sail forever, never reaching port, its crew undead and doomed. For centuries, sailors have claimed to see the phantom ship on dark horizons, glowing with an otherworldly light. The British Royal Navy recorded such sightings in the 1800s, including one by a young Prince George, later King George V. His logbook recounts the Dutchman appearing suddenly in the moonlight, then vanishing into the mist. Some believe the legend arose from mirages known as Fata Morgana, where atmospheric refraction creates the illusion of ships floating in the sky. But to many sailors, the sight of the Flying Dutchman was no trick of the light. It was a warning, an omen of death at sea. Phantom vessels of folklore. Every seafaring culture has stories of ghost ships. In Scandinavian lore, fishermen spoke of the draugr, undead sailors who manned spectral boats and lured the living to watery graves. In Japan, legends told of funayaye, spirits of those drowned at sea, appearing in ghostly ships that demanded offerings of buckets or ladles to keep from capsizing the living. In the Caribbean, tales of phantom Spanish galleons, still hunting gold centuries after sinking, haunt the waters. Off the coast of Chile, sailors whisper about the Kalush, a glowing ghost ship crewed by the drowned, said to appear at night to collect souls and disappear before dawn. Even the Great Lakes of North America, often called the inland seas, have their own phantom ships. The Bannockburn, a freighter lost in 1902 on Lake Superior, is sometimes spotted still sailing in the fog, its phantom crew never escaping their icy fate. Weight of the sea. It's easy to dismiss these tales as hallucinations, myths born from exhaustion, alcohol, or fear. But the sea has a way of bending the mind. Alone on vast, featureless waters, sailors faced isolation, storms, and death on a daily basis. Supernatural stories help them make sense of what they saw, or believe they saw, or believe they saw. A creaking hull at night could be the ghost of a drowned sailor. A glowing light on the horizon could be the Flying Dutchman. A derelict ship adrift with no crew could not be explained by reason alone, so superstition filled the void. And perhaps the sea does keep its secrets. For every rational explanation, there remains the unknown, and the ocean has far more unknowns than truths. Cursed treasure ships and vanishing seas. If ghost ships are the silent specters of the sea, cursed treasure ships are its greedy shadows. These stories blend fortune with misfortune, where gold and silver gleam alongside blood and sorrow. And beyond the greed lies another fear. Entire regions of ocean where ships vanish without reason, where curses seem woven into the waters themselves. Where curses seem woven into wrecks were discovered. Legends of curses soon followed. Take the story of the Nuestra Señora de Atocha. Her holds were bursting with treasure, silver, gold, emeralds, and jewels looted from the New World. Hundreds perished, and the wreck was lost for centuries. Family. Within a year of the discovery, his son and daughter-in-law drowned in a boating accident, and other misfortunes plagued the expedition. To believers, this was no coincidence. It was the curse of the Atocha, punishing those who disturbed her grave. Another legendary tale is that of the Flor de la Mar, a Portuguese treasure ship that sank in 1511 off the coast of Sumatra, overloaded with spoils from the conquest of Malacca. Her riches were said to be unparalleled, but despite centuries of searching, the wreck has never been found. Local legends claim the ship is cursed, guarded by restless spirits who drag down those who dare to hunt for it. Such stories repeat across maritime history, treasure lost at sea, and those who seek it meeting strange or fatal ends. Rational minds argue that the sea is simply dangerous, but sailors know better. Gold at the bottom of the ocean gleams brighter when it is cursed. The Bermuda Triangle, vanishing planes and boats. No maritime curse is more famous than the Bermuda Triangle. This loosely defined region, stretching between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has claimed ships, planes, and lives for centuries. The mystery gained worldwide fame after December 1945, when Flight 19, a squadron of 5 U.S. Navy bombers, vanished during a routine training mission. Radio transmissions revealed the pilots confused, reporting strange compass readings, endless ocean, and disorientation before contact was lost. To rescue them also disappeared. Countless ships have also vanished here. The USS Cyclops in 1918 with 309 men aboard, the Marine Sulphur Queen in 1963, and many smaller vessels. Some survivors spoke of sudden storms, glowing waters, or instruments going haywire. Explanations range from methane gas eruptions to magnetic anomalies to simple human error exaggerated into legend. Yet the idea of a cursed patch of ocean persists. Sailors whisper that the Bermuda Triangle is a gateway, a place where time and reality bend, swallowing those who dare to pass. Haunted lighthouses, tragedies of keepers. Not all maritime curses drift on the waves. Some stand tall on rocky shores, guiding ships with beams of light and hiding their own dark stories. The tragedy of lighthouse keepers has given rise to some of the most unsettling ghost tales. One famous case is the Flannan Isles Lighthouse in Scotland. In 1900, a relief crew arrived to find the lighthouse empty. The 3 keepers had vanished without a trace. The light was out, meals were left untouched, and log entries grew increasingly bizarre before stopping altogether. Some believe a storm swept them away, but others insist darker forces were at work. In America, the St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida is notorious for its hauntings. Visitors report footsteps, shadows, and disembodied voices echoing through the tower. The spirits are said to include children who drowned nearby during construction, as well as keepers who died on duty. Lighthouses were lonely, isolated posts where madness, despair, and superstition thrived. It is no wonder that so many are said to be haunted, their lights not only guiding ships but warning of restless souls still trapped within. Folklore of the Cursed Sea. Beyond individual ships and lighthouses lies the broader idea of cursed waters. In Norse legend, entire stretches of ocean were said to be inhabited by sea spirits, dragging ships to the depths. Polynesian navigators spoke of taboo waters, guarded by angry gods who punished trespassers. Even modern sailors tell of dead zones in the ocean where compasses spin, winds die, and radios crackle with static. Are these natural anomalies, or echoes of curses as old as the sea itself? For the men and women who face the ocean daily, the line between natural danger and supernatural curse is thin. The sea has always been bigger than reason, and when reason fails, myths rise like waves. Ghost armadas, pirate curses, and phantom signals. If cursed treasure ships embody greed and the Bermuda Triangle embodies mystery, then shipwreck legends, pirate curses, and ghost armadas embody pure dread. These stories are about waters haunted not by a single vessel, but by entire fleets, restless curses, and radio voices that should not exist. Shipwreck legends and the Ghost Armada. Where wrecks do not sleep. One such tale is the Ghost Armada of the North Sea. Fishermen claim that on stormy nights they see an entire fleet of ancient warships sailing in formation, only to vanish as the fog clears. Some say these are the spirits of ships destroyed in the Anglo-Dutch wars of the 17th century, condemned to forever replay their naval battles. In the Pacific, islanders tell of phantom fleets appearing before typhoons. The ships are said to be omens, warnings from the dead to the living. To ignore them is to court disaster. Shipwrecks carry more than drowned wood and iron. They carry stories, and sometimes those stories float back to the surface, replaying endlessly across the centuries. Pirates' curses, voodoo, gold, and blood. Pirates lived and died by superstition. For men who defied law and sailed on stolen fortunes, curses were as real as cannons. Legends speak of Blackbeard himself, whose headless ghost is said to roam the waters of Ocracoke Island, searching for his body after being killed in 1718. Locals claim strange lights rise from the sea where he fell, a warning never to cross him. Even in death, other tales blend piracy with voodoo. In the Caribbean, cursed islands are said to hold buried treasure guarded by spirits, placed there through ritual sacrifices. Sailors who dig for it report sudden storms, illness, or simply disappearing without a trace. The most famous curse, though, is simple: dead men tell no tales. Pirates who buried treasure often killed the men who helped hide it, binding their souls to guard the gold. Many modern treasure hunters insist that these spirits still watch, punishing those who try to claim what was not theirs. Modern ghost ships. Not all phantom ships belong to the distant past. In fact, the modern era has produced some of the eeriest ghost ship cases ever recorded. Take the case of the MV Joyita in 1955. Found adrift in the Pacific, she was still seaworthy, but her crew of 25 was missing. Supplies were intact, radios worked, but lifeboats were gone. To this day, no trace of the crew has been found. Or the Kaz-2, discovered drifting near Australia in 2007. On board were 3 men's belongings, laptops open, coffee cups half full. But the crew was gone. Investigators could not explain how 3 experienced sailors could vanish from a Stable boat in calm seas. Even in the age of GPS and satellites, ghost ships appear, silent and crewless, like echoes from an older, darker time. Unexplained radio and phantom signals. Beyond the ships themselves, the sea is filled with voices. Mariners often pick up strange transmissions, eerie signals with no clear source. During World War II, Allied ships reported hearing distress calls in Morse code that led them into empty waters. Sometimes the signals repeated endlessly, as if trapped in a loop. Even today, amateur radio enthusiasts sometimes tune into unexplained broadcasts from the sea, number stations, eerie beeps, or even ghostly voices calling for help. One chilling legend tells of a radio operator who picked up a mayday call from a Dutch ship, the Orang Medan. The crew reported dying, then silence fell. When rescuers found the ship, every sailor was dead, eyes wide in terror, bodies frozen in place. Moments later, the ship exploded and sank, erasing the evidence. Phantom signals blur the line between technology and the supernatural. A call for help without a sender is worse than silence. It is a reminder that the dead may still be trying to speak. The curse of the sea's memory. Every sailor knows the sea remembers. It remembers wrecks, curses, and the last words of the drowned. That is why ghost ships sail, why cursed treasure gleams in the deep, and why ghost ships sail, why cursed treasure gleams in the deep, and why radios crackle with voices that should no longer exist. The ocean is not empty. It is full of memory. And sometimes, memory is the most terrifying curse of all. Maritime disasters, ancient curses, and encounters with sea ghosts. If ghost fleets and cursed treasure warn us of the sea's restless spirits, then maritime disasters and direct ghostly encounters show us how deeply the curse can scar history. These stories are about real tragedies, unexplained hauntings, and the chilling sense that something far older than man still rules the ocean. Maritime disasters. Blamed on curses throughout history, sailors have blamed certain disasters not on storms or navigation errors, but on curses. The Titanic is the most famous. While officially sunk by an iceberg, legends claim it carried a cursed Egyptian mummy in its cargo. Survivors whispered that the spirit of the mummy doomed the ship, and newspapers of the time sensationalized the idea that ancient wrath brought down the unsinkable. The Nuestra Señora de Atocha, a Spanish treasure galleon, sank in 1622 with immense riches. For centuries, every attempt to retrieve her gold was met with death, storms, or mysterious illness. Treasure hunters called it the curse of the Atocha. Even when modern salvagers succeeded, accidents haunted their crews. The SS Orang Medan disaster adds another layer. Reportedly found adrift, her crew was dead, faces twisted in horror, with no visible wounds. As rescuers tried to tow the ship, she exploded and sank. Skeptics dismissed the story, but sailors still whisper, perhaps it was a chemical accident, or perhaps a curse. Sometimes the curse is collective. The Bermuda Triangle itself is described as a living curse, an oceanic graveyard that swallows ships and planes without explanation. Mariners avoid its heart not because of science, but because of stories. Haunted lighthouses and the keepers who never left. Not just ships, but the guardians of the sea. Lighthouse keepers are said to remain even after death. The St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida is infamous. Visitors report hearing footsteps, laughter of drowned children, and seeing a shadow climbing the spiral staircase. Paranormal investigators claim it is one of the most haunted sites in America. Scotland's Flannan Isles Lighthouse holds a darker mystery. In 1900, 3 keepers vanished without a trace. The logbook spoke of storms that never occurred and fear creeping into their hearts. To this day, no bodies were found. Locals insist their ghosts still tend the light, forever bound to the rock. These stories remind us that sometimes the curse is not in the sea, but in the duty of those who guard it. True encounters with sea ghosts, beyond legends. Countless mariners report face-to-face encounters with ghostly sailors. Fishermen off Japan's coast speak of funayurai, drowned spirits that approach boats at night, asking for ladles to pour water into the sea. If given, the boat will sink beneath the weight of the dead. Some captains still keep ladles with holes in them, a charm against the spirit's tricks. In the 18th century, British sailors claimed to see the ghost of Admiral Tryon, who died in a collision at sea. Hours after his death, he appeared at a London party, walking silently across the room before vanishing, witnessed by dozens. In the Caribbean, divers exploring wrecks report hearing voices, muffled like they are underwater, calling their names. Some flee, surfacing in panic. Others disappear, lost among the ruins they disturbed. Phantom sailors and the living dead, sometimes it is not ships but sailors themselves who return. 19th century, whalers reported seeing phantom crews rowing alongside them, faces pale, eyes glowing in the dark. When hailed, the figures dissolved into mist. Even modern navies tell stories of watchmen spotting figures on deck, only to discover no one was there. These sightings are so common, they are sometimes recorded in ship logs under unexplained. Phantom sailors are not always threatening. Some legends speak of them warning ships of storms or reefs, as if death itself retains loyalty to the sea. But most of the time, their presence is not comforting. It is a reminder no one truly leaves the ocean. To sail is to gamble with curses written not in books but in water, the eternal curse of the sea. The ocean has always been humanity's oldest frontier. We explore it with science, conquer it with technology, yet remain prisoners of its mysteries. From the days of wooden galleons to nuclear submarines, ghost stories and maritime curses continue to shadow every voyage. If anything, they grow stronger as technology advances, proving that no matter how far we sail, we never escape the sea's hunger. Modern ghost ships and unexplained signals. It's to say that haunted ships belong only to the past, but the 21st century has its own ghost ships. The MV Joyita, discovered in 1955, drifted with no crew, meals half-eaten, cargo untouched. Lifeboats were missing, but no distress signal was ever heard. To this day, theories range from mutiny to supernatural abduction. In 2012, a Japanese ghost ship, washed away by the tsunami, drifted across the Pacific for months before being found near Canada. Empty, rusted, yet intact, as though patiently waiting for someone. Even radios carry hauntings. Sailors report strange distress calls, voices crying for help in languages unknown, or signals that loop endlessly, never traced to any origin. Are they echoes of past disasters, trapped forever in the ether? Or are they warnings from the other side? Curses of pirate gold and sunken cities. Tragedy with it. Divers who looted Caribbean wrecks in the 20th century often fell to bizarre accidents, unexplained infections, equipment failure, or even drowning in calm waters. Legends claim that sunken cities themselves curse intruders. The myth of Port Royal, Jamaica, the wickedest city on earth, tells that its 1692 earthquake and sinking into the sea was divine punishment. Divers exploring its ruins report eerie sensations, as if watched by thousands of drowned souls. The living one truth runs through all these legends. The ocean demands sacrifice. Sailors speak of the debt, that every voyage risks a soul being taken. In folklore, if a ship sails too long without loss, bad luck builds until the sea claims its due. Storms, falls, disappearances, all explained as the ocean collecting payment. Even science bends before this idea. Every year, modern fleets lose ships and submarines without clear explanation. Advanced radar, GPS, and sonar cannot erase the oldest belief: the sea always wins. The philosophy of haunted waters. Why do maritime curses endure? Perhaps because the sea is the perfect mirror of human fear. It is vast, indifferent, and eternal. It swallows bodies without graves, treasures without markers, and memories without closure. On land, ghosts cling to houses. At sea, they cling to water that never stops moving. This makes them eternal, unbound by walls or time. Every haunted ship, every cursed wreck, every phantom sailor is not just a story. They are reminders that we sail not on empty water, but on a graveyard without end. Closing. The curse never dies. Imagine standing on a quiet dock at night. The waves lap softly, and the air smells of salt. Then, faintly, you hear a bell ringing. Though no ship is near, you turn, but the harbor is empty. Was it the harbor is empty? Was it the wind? Or was it the echo of a ship long sunk, its crew still calling? That is the curse of the sea. Not that it kills, but that it never lets go. Haunted ships and maritime curses are not just tales to frighten children. They are eternal truths dressed in story. The sea remembers and the sea takes. And if you listen closely, it still whispers its hunger.